into the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing after-shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
You really can.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to AfterBuzz TV, where we're talking about The Flash, Season 1, Episode 17, Tricksters. I'm your host, Roxy Striar. You guys can find me everywhere at Roxy Striar, sitting alongside Tauri Miller.
Hey, I'm Tauri J. Miller. You can find me on Twitter at Tauri J. It's TaurijAY.
Ashley Daniels.
Oh my god, I love this song. Can we keep it on for like an extra minute? I'm at Ashley Daniels on Twitter and I don't know.
I'm Twitter.
I'm Twitter.
And Jeffrey Masters.
Hi, I'm Jeffrey Masters. I tweet from Jeff Masters 1.
And you guys can find us at AfterBuzz TV, AfterBuzzTV.com, YouTube.com/AfterBuzzTV. And if you guys are talking to us, use the hashtag ABTVFlash. Make sure you give us that thumbs up, that 5 stars, and leave a comment. We love hearing what you guys have to say. But right now, I want to hear what you guys to say. What did you think of tonight's episode, Tauri?
It was amazing.
Ashley? You had more than amazing.
I loved it.
It's amazing.
Well, I just had to get her paying back attention. She was doing too much dancing. She got focused.
Sorry, I love this episode. It's amazing, guys. You know that.
Yeah, okay.
It was amazing.
Yes.
And Jeffrey.
I loved it. It was great. Mark Hamill was a fantastic villain.
Yeah.
I called it.
I agree. Tari, I want to get back to your overall thoughts because I know you got something special you were just going to say.
Oh, I was just going to say how much I loved Mark Hamill. I loved all the fathery moments, all the feels of this episode. It's so good.
It really was. It was amazing, and it actually was an episode that we're not going to go back and erase and run so fast that the episode didn't happen. Not that I didn't love that episode, but at least this stuff sticks. All right, I want to get right into it, though. So we are starting in the past. We're going back, which was an interesting way to start the episode. 15 years ago. And when we get there, we see a familiar image. It is little Barry Allen, and he is there, and once again we have to watch this poor little kid as his mother is getting almost dying, and there's these 2 speedsters going around, and the dad's sitting there, and he's like, "Run, Barry, run!" How many times are they going to torture us with this freaking image? It's not that I don't think they should, but it's like ingrained in my brain at this point. I dream about it. I nightmare about it.
I think that's good, though. I don't think it's overused yet.
Right.
Yeah.
I know, but they tortured us. Sorry, Tari, but they tortured us even with the car crash, honey. I love you. With the car crash and she, like, all these images of just like they're too emotional. It's just too difficult to watch because I really enjoy the show, but for me, I find it too difficult. Like those moments, like sending your dad back to jail. Another one. Like, come on, or like looking at him in the jail cell.
I know.
Or seeing your wife dying in the car, or seeing your mom dying. It's like, ugh.
I know. It's hard to swallow. It's
hard.
Yeah. I completely agree.
But I still love the show, but I
know.
No, it's
goosebumps
difficult.
all night.
I think that's the point.
I love that you got to see it from the speedster side, though. It wasn't just like a couple blurs running around a room. It's like you see 2 people fighting and then stills of others having to exist in this world where they're battling it out.
Right.
Each time we get more information. Tonight, we saw them fighting. We find out the mom was drunk. She's drinking wine.
And that is what you take away from this episode. Absolutely.
Yeah, what else happened? I don't remember.
It was good wine. It was the last glass she was going to have.
Yeah.
Something good, like a Merlot or
it looked like a nice Pinot to me.
or something nice.
Pinot Noir. It was red, baby. Come on, get with the.
That's what I meant. Pinot Noir. Whatever.
Yeah. She was
heavy drinker over here.
She's wasted. She put this upon herself. No, I know. We
are
understand
like things that happen when you drink too much. Subtitle.
Yeah, it was tough though, and we did get to see it from a different perspective, which I liked. However, I have to say, we're watching them go around and around and around in circles, and I'm sitting there saying, I can recognize that being Barry Allen, but the other guy, I really don't feel like that looks like Wells. I don't think it's him. And I'm trying to like rewind and pause, and you guys are like, can we just watch the show, Roxy? Stop doing that. So then we go along with it, and then we find out more in the flashbacks that it wasn't his face. It was him being in the body, but it wasn't his face. Which, Tauri, how the freak did you know know this?
Yeah, what the heck was that?
You just called it.
Yeah, you really did.
I mean, it's classic sci-fi lore, but also Professor Zoom traditionally changes his face to look like Barry, so you could make the leap to say that he took the face of someone else, and it makes sense for him to take Wells's face because he's a genius already. So he was on
Because Wells is a genius already.
Yeah.
And you're a genius.
Oh,
He should have taken your face.
You need a Twizzler right now.
I would
and a
hope not, because that would mean
laugh.
I'm dead.
You know, props to Roxy though, because when you were saying this isn't Wells, it doesn't look like him. We're like, okay, Roxy, please stop talking.
Yeah,
We
that
have
is
to watch
true.
the fight. So like, kudos to you.
I'm thinking that this side of the table is really good at predictions right
yeah.
now.
Oh, okay.
The
Because
best.
I didn't even know that was Luke Skywalker in the very beginning. Sorry, guys. And then I still said that was the son.
The comments are going to go insane.
No, I knew
You
afterward.
can't admit that on air. Ashley,
I don't like spoilers, so I don't read who's going to be in the
We
episodes.
talked about
I like
this.
to enjoy the episode for what it is. It just so happened that when you guys were all screaming, I'm like, what are you screaming at? And then you're like, it was Luke Skywalker, and I just so happened, as everybody knows that knows me, and I've made it clear, I just watched Star Wars for the first time a few months ago.
Yeah, that's true.
So
that's
now
true.
I was excited.
No, I'm glad you're
anything
excited.
wrong, guys.
No, I think it's great because I think that CW especially has a lot of different audiences than what you would expect to be Star
There are
Wars
some
fans.
gals out there that are like, yeah, Ash, I just watched Star Wars too.
And honestly, I would kill for the opportunity to watch Star Wars for the first
It was
time
amazing.
again.
I don't tell me because I'm only on the second episode.
Oh, here,
Second
I'll tell
movie.
you.
So you're on episode 5.
Right,
Yes.
because it's,
Okay.
yeah, you know what I mean.
Got it. All
The
right.
two oldest I've watched.
Oh, okay.
First two oldest.
So then
Yeah.
you'd be on episode 6.
Just
All right.
remember that
so
1,
that
2, and 3 don't
line
exist.
wasn't there yet.
yeah.
Oh,
So that's why she didn't have it.
oh.
it
She hasn't got to that point.
The I am your
No, it's
father.
not Luke, I'm your father. That was in the
The
second
second
one.
one, yeah, is in episode 5.
What happens on third?
All right. Well,
He's like,
anyway.
"Hey, you
sorry.
All
right.
This just became a Star Wars.
Yeah, and we're bringing it back. Okay, Tari, we're still back on you though, because I wanted to know. You were talking about you knew that it was that he would take his face because traditionally he takes Barry's face.
Right.
So, how did you know then he would take randomly this scientist just because he's smart, or do you think that there's more to the selection process? Because he really seemed to be stalking him, like eyeing him for a long time.
He
Right.
said, you're going to invent this in 20 years, and I need it faster.
Right. So, yeah, basically, based on his knowledge of history, he decided to take Wells' identity because he needed to advance his own technology.
Right. But the thing that Wells keeps trying to tell Barry is that he can't go changing what happens because then the whole future will be messed up. So why is he not taking that on advice? And this particle accelerator was supposed to be a problem in 2020, but instead he's making it a problem in 2015
Right.
or 2014.
Well, he's trying to make sure Barry doesn't ruin his future. It has nothing to do with
The future.
It's like he has a specific plan, and if Barry goes meddling with time, it might ruin everything. So
Absolutely.
he's trying to make sure that his end game stays intact.
So learning what we did tonight, that they sped up the creation of the Star Labs and the accelerator.
Yeah.
Does this mean that probably in Eobard's world, the Flash it happened later on the timeline?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. So if Barry's 25 now, maybe he was 30 in the first version.
Yeah.
Also-
I'd imagine.
Interesting.
I'm also curious. We see the conversation between Tess and Wells, the actual Wells, on the beach, and they're talking about what to name the lab, and they name it Tess, but then she's like, you should name it Star because you're the star in my sky, or whatever she says, which was really cheesy and also adorable. And she says that, but then if they hadn't named it yet, how would Wells, as Eobard,
Yes,
have
how
named
would-
it?
right.
Was he listening to all that?
No, I mean, basically, that in his timeline that already happened. So it would have already been Star Labs when he existed.
Oh, right.
Got
He
it.
knew what he was going to do. He didn't
Yes.
know why, but
Yeah.
he knew what it would end up being.
Right.
That makes
Okay.
sense. I got it. Oh, this time travel thing, it messes with your head.
I knew the wife too. I tweeted it. I don't know if anybody answered me, but the wife is definitely from a movie from the 90s called Babysitter's Club. Guarantee you.
Which was also a book that I loved.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Alex Mack, I don't know her real name, but she was in it too.
Okay.
But
So
from Nickelodeon.
Sorry, so it seems like when Harrison got when Thawne got Harrison's face.
Yes.
It seems like original Harrison's face was black and nasty and done.
You mean as it shriveled up on the ground?
It's shriveled up on the ground. So I'm wondering. I'm led to assume that Thawne, who now looks like Harrison, is stuck looking like Harrison. He cannot go back to the way Thawne originally looked.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, I'd imagine that would be the case. I mean, because it seems like that technology is a one-way trip.
Yeah.
You know, because if he was going to revert, it probably would have happened by now.
But if he then somehow is able to go to the future or whatever it is, then he's going to just look like Wells? Isn't that going to mess up him not looking like Wells?
Didn't you guys catch him say, like, they're going to be coming and saving me? But then
Right.
why did he end up looking like Wells?
No, because that's what he meant. That's what he meant.
When he said me, he meant me as your face.
Yes,
Yes.
exactly.
See, that was confusing. 'Cause I took it as me, like, they're going to be looking for a guy who looks like me, they're not going to save you, so I got to look like me, but then he looked like him, and
Also-
he's like, he's not going to save him, he's going to save me.
What did he do with the shriveled body? Did he put it aside the road? Is that somehow going to come back in this investigation now that they're more
Disintegration, maybe?
Right.
I think that's going to be like too far into the past. We're not going to see much with that.
I'm talking semantics at this point. We're
Yeah,
thinking
exactly.
all right.
Fossils.
I mean, I have a thought, but I'll save it for the spoiler.
No. Oh.
Love it.
Yeah.
No, I want it.
Because based on the preview and all the stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you'll save it for later on in predictions?
Yeah.
Okay. That means you guys have to stay tuned.
Oh, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
I
talk
just
about
want
it
to
in
sing the
20.
Veruca Salt song now. Don't care how
I
we
want it
now.
Okay,
Amazing references.
after the show.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay, so that's pretty much all we found out about the past. But I will say that I'm loving getting these all this information through these flashbacks every single week, and I think it's interesting to watch what they did, and the fact that I don't know, maybe it was like 7 episodes ago where we had Mason as when we had Wells, and he said, listen, my wife died in this car accident and it was really hard for me, and now here I am. He just jacked somebody's story.
Yeah.
Like, that is what he did. And now we were like, oh, he must not be that bad. What's going on? And then we find out in tonight's episode exactly what happened, which just tells me that they have planned so far in advance. They know exactly where this is going.
Yeah.
And that there was no surprise there that he put on the tears or whatever, and it was just a load of crap.
Yeah. Well, we know that he's like such a good actor. I mean, he's been spending this whole time being Mr. Nice Guy, where in actuality he's a murder face.
Yeah, and we know that because of episode
Murder
15, but nobody else knows it because nobody remembers episode 15 except for us.
Right.
Right. Can you tell us in comics?
Yes, tell us about this comics.
I've not come across how Thawne would get his Speed Force back. So, like when I've read them, like how would he get that from Barry? How will Barry help him get back to the future?
Well, I think what the idea is that basically the more powerful, because Barry in essence is the Speed Force.
Yeah.
When he I'm trying to figure out if this is spoilers. In the comics,
Yeah.
when he dies, he becomes the Speed Force and essentially creates the Flash in the past. So the more powerful he gets, the more Wells will be able to tap into the Speed Force, because the Speed Force will exist as powerful as Barry is.
Okay.
So if Barry only stays at a level of 5 for the rest of his life, then there will only be an amount of 5 to share between the two speedsters.
Which is why he needs Barry to be faster all the time so that he eventually can get back to where he needs to go.
Right.
Okay.
He's preserving his energy, obviously, by sitting. So.
Right.
Yeah.
This also, the other thing I guess we did learn is that Gideon's been around for a while now. Gideon just tapped in on the watch and whatever
15 years
is going
ago.
on. Yeah, absolutely. So, and
She looks great, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
She hasn't changed a bit. Just
Very
like I
true.
remember.
Very true. Jeff.
Did anyone not feel bad this episode for actual Harrison Wells? You know, like Homeboy was murdered.
Right.
I felt bad for him.
he's not even there
I know,
anymore.
I did too.
The wife was murdered too.
But yeah, the wife too. Yeah, both. But like, this is the first time in theory that we're actually meeting Harrison Wells, because we've only ever seen Thawne as Harrison.
Exactly.
Right. That's
true.
I do feel bad. I hope somehow he comes back and he gets him back. to
Kicks
what he
his
did.
butt.
Yeah, I really do. Him and Tess.
Fingers crossed.
Honey.
Are we thinking anything about?
I'm just saying, that would be awesome. I would be so on Wells' side, obviously.
All right, anytime they mention anything in the show, I'm like, oh, it's got to be a reference to something. So we do get the fact that Tess's dad is dead, and she says that she really wishes that he was there to meet Wells. It could
would've
have just
loved him,
It could have
she
just
said.
been a quick conversation, but do we think that her dad is anybody, anything could play into this somehow?
Yes.
Some way?
Absolutely.
Like, I feel like there's more. Yes, there's a particle accelerator, and yes, he's very smart, but I feel like there also is more reason why he just picked this one person or something. I don't know.
I agree with you. There's no reason why they would ever do anything in this show without having some purpose behind it. I feel at this point it's been proven. We're on episode 17. What has ever been said on the show that hasn't ended up happening?
Right.
Her father was one of the 5 lines that she had in the whole episode.
Yeah, that's true.
It's got to be somebody.
I mean, I think that's great to pick up on.
Yeah.
But I just can't even imagine how he would come into play.
That's true too. That's true too. I don't know, but maybe. Okay, so that's the past. Let's talk about the present. We've got some serious, tricky situations to deal with. See what I did there, and see how we opened the episode tonight with that song.
Right now, I was gonna go out and get them, guys. Just so you know, I was gonna do that.
But then what happened, Ash?
But then I watched the episode.
Which was a good trade-off.
Yeah, I could do 2 things at once.
Which is pretty
If you're
good
listening
trade-off.
just in audio, though, we do have them.
Yes.
They can't tell. They
Everybody
won't know.
making. Yeah. Ooh. Oh gosh, that was just the worst. Okay.
Sorry, guys.
So here's what's going on. There's an imitation trickster. His name is Axel. You also know him as Little Dexter. And he is running around in 2015 making selfies. That is straight up what he's doing.
Yeah, I mean, for real though.
Yeah.
He's like in Central Park. Look like Central Park. He's just like sightseeing, and all of a sudden it's like, wait a minute. This is going terribly wrong.
Yeah.
This is a sick selfie.
They call me the Vine terrorist.
Seriously, though.
Like a ton of followers. Like, what's wrong with this world?
It's just crazy that now in comics and whatever, social media is like included, and he's putting this up and he's like streaming these things live, and I'm like, what is this, an AfterBuzz show? But anyway, so he is going around, he's filming this, and we're like, oh, this is somebody who's imitating the trickster, and I'm sitting here thinking that the trickster's gonna hate him, and everybody else thinks that too, and Ashley, you called the fact that you thought that it was going to be his son.
And I did not have my phone tonight, guys, so I did not Google this ahead of time or anything. I swear this was an intuition. I didn't even know it was Luke Skywalker at that point.
I want to know, though,
Which is kind of embarrassing.
what made you, what line or what interaction did you start thinking, and why did you start thinking that it was his son?
I honestly, I know obviously they were talking to him about, no, they said, do you have any idea who he could be?
You mean Joe and Barry
Joe
go to
and
talk
Barry
to
were
Trickster?
talking to Jesse, James Jesse, and they said something like, do you have any idea who he could be? Do you recognize him or something? I think it was something around those lines that I thought to myself, like, that would be so interesting because he's an imitation trickster. Wouldn't it be interesting if he was trying to become his father? Because they were like, who would care to do this? Who would want to do this? They were trying to ask him. So that's what happened. I don't know. It was really a weird occurrence that probably won't happen again. So
It's interesting, though, because he doesn't actually know that is his father, and he is in the dark. But so it's funny because all these other villains that we've seen so far, even though they are bad, I feel like they have a code, some sort of code.
Yes.
Like Captain Cold last week and whatnot. But Trickster, you're just out of luck because you don't know when he's telling the truth, if he's actually giving you his word or whatever. You can pretty much assume whatever he says, the opposite is true.
Yeah, I think
great actor though, obviously.
He was so
I mean
good.
then, but I'm saying in the show he was even a good actor.
yeah.
The fact that he was pretending it bothered him so much, he's like down the wall. He's like, no, and I'm like, oh my god, this guy's so hurt.
I know.
Like, this is
It's
it.
the ultimate trick.
Yeah.
The
Amazing
trickster
actor.
that was the first legitimately crazy and evil, for lack of a better word, villain that we've seen. Everyone else has had a backstory to justify these horrible things they're doing, and not
Very
him.
true.
Absolutely. I agree with that. Did you like that, or did you want it to be more of an onion with more layers?
I liked it because it made it more unpredictable. Like, what's he gonna do? It don't matter.
He was the most interesting to me, at least. I mean, and I love to be able to hate them and not have a reason to. Oh, but this happened.
Right.
So it was fun hating him. He was just so evil.
You don't want to feel conflicted.
No, never.
Like, there's not going to be the trickster, the conversation that Flash and Dr. Cold,
Captain Cold,
He's been promoted.
he got a degree. Okay, there's not going to be the conversation that the Flash has with Captain Cold about, like, fine, and they shake on it and they have a truce.
Right.
Right.
I wouldn't trust the trickster for that.
Yeah.
Of course not. Tari, what were you gonna?
I mean, I like the trickster, especially this trickster, because it's the closest thing that I'm gonna get to a live action Joker.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because everyone knows, and those who don't, Mark Hamill plays the Joker in the animated series, the Justice League, and all that stuff. He's a lot of people's quintessential Joker. Most Jokers that come beyond this point are essentially copying him. So to have him be this trickster trickster character who is like Joker light is the funnest thing in the world.
Absolutely, and there were so many similarities. No, there wasn't. They didn't look the exact same, but the way, just the sinisterness and all of those things, I thought that he killed it. I thought he completely nailed the role. He's so talented, and the fact that, again, is a testament to television these days that he is now on a TV show doing this after his entire incredible career.
Yeah.
I just think that they are doing an amazing job.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want you to ask.
Just thought of this. How did they initially, James Jesse and Imitation Trickster / Little Dexter come together and come up with this whole plan?
They said they've been pen pals for over a decade.
I understand, but okay, so just writing, that was it. But don't they check the letters in jail? I thought they checked all the letters.
You can write in code.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gibberish.
So really all that came from just that? They never met up once or like had some trick way of meeting?
No, they said this is the first time they've ever like been in the same room together.
Oh. Well, except for the time he was born, obviously.
That didn't bother me that they planned this
maybe.
over letters. I think that's fine.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
I totally missed that part because I thought it was like a whole meeting and everything. I kind of took the fun out of that.
No, if we're gonna be on like the picky train, I don't want to nitpick, but I'm so sick and tired of like usually like superhero movies and or TV shows where like they have a diversion and all of the police go to one corner of the town and they're like, haha, we're in the other corner.
I completely know what you mean, but that was the first time they've done it on this show.
On this show, absolutely, but I feel like they need to differentiate themselves from every other show, and every other show has done it.
Yeah, I know what you mean. They did it on Arrow too. What's in the Glades, and people went whatever at one point, and every other show for sure. But it's not like I feel like we're repeating storylines that Flash has done already.
No, not at all.
But I know what you mean.
And it almost wasn't the case. It only happened that way because Barry was being pig-headed.
That's true.
That is kind of true. But he was being pig-headed because he doesn't trust his mentor anymore. So I didn't find it like, oh, Barry's just being stubborn for no reason. It was like Barry has very just cause to be stubborn and not believe this guy who clearly has ulterior motives.
It's great that he's able to compose himself and still pretend that he likes him and can stand in a room with him.
But he wasn't.
He was behind his back. He would just turn around and be like, oh, whatever. It's like,
He was
hi,
pretty
Will.
bad at being covert about it.
I thought he was pretty good at it.
I want to talk about their relationship a little more in a bit, but I want to stay on the whole trickster storyline right now because so much happened. So yes, they were paired up, and we do find that out later. But before we find any of it out about why they were or whatnot, when they're leaving jail, they take Barry's dad, which almost had me in tears because, we had the mention of Little Henry earlier, and when Barry saved Mini Henry, nice name,
and then they called it too.
Yeah, and then they take Henry as hostage, which was number one, really smart, and number two, really messed up. Were you guys thinking, is there any chance that he's gonna die here? Because some people have predicted he's gonna die at the end of the season. Or were you thinking, all right, well, we'll get him back?
I didn't think he was going to die. But I also just think this guy is just so strong. He doesn't cry. He doesn't complain. He's like, oh, okay, I'm going to go back to jail now. But I'm going to say thank you to Wells and be nice to everybody. He's just so strong. He's always putting a brave face on for Barry's sake.
Right.
I think that if anyone's going to die, it's going to be Joe West.
Oh, don't say that.
And...
And the panel is silent with tears.
It's just like in like the hero's journey, like the bastard version of it is that the mentor has to die for you to fulfill your destiny and like get over it and become your true destiny.
Right.
And that
like Obi-Wan.
Yeah. Everyone has like the mentor character that dies, like Superman's father dies, yada yada yada. Right. And that's for me is Joe West.
Well, I would argue that is actually Wells, and the death of the mentor character is him finding out that Wells is the man in the yellow suit.
Oh, you mean it's not him actually dying, it's him being dead to Barry.
Right.
That would be interesting.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But the more important thing that happened with Barry's dad in tonight's episode is, yes, he's kidnapped and all of that, but then, out of freaking nowhere, Barry comes and saves the dad from all these knives, and then he's like, and by the way, Dad, psh,
He's like, you look great in red, son. I'm like,
because we already knew that he was sensing that his son was the Flash. We saw that before, but he reveals himself to his father, and this was the most incredible moment of the episode. There was a lot of great moments of the episode, but this was at least top 5. I mean, it was so beautiful. And like, what kid doesn't want to save their parent one day? It's just like the most amazing thing. I love that moment. How did you guys feel?
I liked it. I mean, because there was no other chance that was going to happen. There was never, other than, Henry being broken out of prison and taken hostage, were they ever going to have this face-to-face where he could go, hey, this is who I am, this is the man I've become.
Right.
Love me, show me, love, etc. Love.
Mm-hmm. Love?
Love.
Do you think there's some love?
All
That's
you
a little
need
bit.
is love.
What do you guys think about this moment? The big reveal. Reveal part 1, because we get a reveal part 2 later.
Oh, this was much more sentimental than the other one. That was just a little creepy.
It was great. I mean, the whole time, though, I'm just nervous about what's going to happen afterward, because we saw that he goes back to jail, which, like, is...
Cuff me.
Yeah, okay, ready to go.
No, I don't need to. Let's go linking arms, hand in hand.
Yeah, and like skiff off down the Yellow Brick Road. In my mind, I really needed them to find him like a cottage like 3 miles outside of town where he could like be a goat farmer and like grow tomatoes and just like live peacefully, and Barry could visit him on like Sundays for dinner.
And why can't they do that at least until they exonerate him? Or
I don't know.
Because he'd be a fugitive.
Yeah, and then Joe would be helping out a fugitive.
But it's not his quote-unquote like fault. He didn't break out of jail. He was stolen out.
Right.
And
That's true.
just blame it on the trickster. Say the trickster still has him.
But they want to do this all above the law. They want to do this all so that it's when he is out, there's no questions about it or whatever. I understand why they didn't, but I agree that I'm so sick of seeing him behind those bars. It's so sad because we know he's a man who lost his wife. And that's literally why he's thrown in jail.
Yeah, and then he's blamed for it. He's literally O.J. Simpson.
No, it's just so sad. I mean, just seeing your dad in prison and knowing he's there and like wondering all the time, like, is he okay? Is he hungry? Is he thirsty? Does he want to be outside? Like all the things that go through Barry's head all day. I can't imagine just Barry trying to every single day fight to solve this thing.
But at least he was able to save him for a moment.
I know, but it's like that one moment of freedom. It's like he's better off not having the freedom at all than getting a taste of it and then going back in jail,
I think he has such a positive outlook on life that maybe it's not true, because I think a lot of people, that one moment would make them turn bitter, but Henry doesn't seem bitter to me. He just seems like he's accepted what's going on. Even when Barry comes up to him and he's like, Dad, just hang tight, and then Joe says, you know what, you should hang tight. He's like, all right. He's never like, what do you guys mean?
Yeah.
Like, he's not a jerk. He's a really good guy.
He's great. Yeah.
I think it shows how much faith he has in Barry and Joe, and that they're going to do everything that they can to prove his innocence. He doesn't need to stow away in order to be free, because it'll happen in time.
And also, though, Barry's so riled up about this. He's like almost obsessed.
Right.
And so I think his father knows that there's nothing the father can do to help him. And if he gets riled up about it, he's like, yeah, boy, get me out of here. Yeehaw. Like, that's not going to help the situation. It's not going to help Barry to speed things up. So it's just like, dude, take care of everything you need to take care of, but also fight for me. It'll be cool.
Right. So Joe and Barry are teaming up together on this, but they're also teaming up against Wells right now. Like we talked about briefly earlier, they are skeptical. They don't know what's up, but they know something is up. Do you feel like they are getting any closer to the answer? Because tonight Barry does finally say, when he tells me to run through the wall, which by the way was another amazing moment, and he tells me,
I have to say though, did anybody picture him running through the wall and then being stuck, like his hand stuck because the bomb is still stuck and he's like going forward and like the thing's holding him back? Did anybody think that could happen?
I wasn't thinking that.
He broke it obviously, but I just thought it was gonna be like, oh, okay, my whole body's through, but I have my hand that's stuck with the bomb back here.
No, I just needed him to pick anything other than a gas tanker.
I know.
Yeah, because it was not a good place to have an explosion.
No.
Not smart.
Really.
But at least then there was no people in there. I don't know. I thought that was a great moment. But the point is that he does all this, and Wells is talking him through it, and he's like gliding through with the magic of like whatever he's saying. It's literally sounding like
through the highway.
Those are the lines.
Down through the clouds.
I didn't write down the exact words, sorry.
You have the whole feeling right.
Yeah, that was the feeling.
Yeah.
And so from this, Barry's like, all right, he's not. It doesn't sound like he is telling me because he read this somewhere. It sounds like he's lived this. And so he does say that to Joe. Do you guys feel like he is a step closer to figuring out what the freak is going on?
Well, question regarding that. Do you think that he
You have a question about my question?
Yes. Do you think that Barry would have been skeptical about the way Wells was telling him to run if he didn't already have skepticism about Wells?
No.
Do you think he just would have been like, oh, this is nice of him? Like,
Yeah.
right, okay.
Now his eyes are open, and there is no closing them anymore.
Right.
That's how I feel. How do you guys feel about that?
No, I agree. And I think that, yes, they're a little closer. They don't really have that many leads at the moment. I mean, now they're all on the same page, which is nice. And I think that they'll probably start digging into Wells's actual history, because we have what we think is the history with the wife and all that stuff, or at least what they think is the history. We know because we're geniuses. But so they'll kind of dig into the inaccuracies of his story, because his wife was what is the word I'm looking for? It was a cover, and now that they know it to be false.
Right.
And 'cause in that sense too, like, we really know very little about why Thawne is so obsessed with, like, Barry. Like, they haven't given us that reason yet.
Right.
Well, we know that he needs him to be fast, and he needs him to be fast so that he can get back to being himself.
Yeah.
Right.
But we don't know much about what being himself entails in the future.
Yeah.
I mean, traditionally, he was obsessed with him when he was a kid. He wanted to essentially be Barry Allen. He went crazy at a certain point, and then went even crazier when he came into the past, and then decided that he was going to be Barry's ultimate rival.
Tari,
Yes.
I am your father.
No, that's impossible.
Wait,
Dad,
are you
you're a
really?
really pretty dad.
Thank you. I had to say it once
genes
tonight.
come from.
I wish my dad had braids like that.
Oh, thanks. Okay, so they
Story
do.
that we're talking. What's going on?
They're on to Wells. They're on to Wells, whether they're stumped for right now or not. At least their eyes are open. They are trying to figure this out, and they have somehow recruited somebody else on their team, and that somebody is, of course, who we all thought was going to be the bad guy, but isn't right now, Eddie. Eddie has been wrangled in, and Eddie is the second major reveal tonight as Barry lifts his mask off and is like, ta-da! I know you don't really like the Flash, and I also know you don't really like Barry right now. Well, ha ha ha! Joke's on you. I'm both of them.
I know, exactly.
Like, the most bizarre moment.
I mean, really. And it was funny because Eddie does know that Barry has some sort of feelings for Iris. So now he's like, oh, great. Now I have to compete with you and the Flash. And you want me to help you.
Right.
And I don't like you, as Roxy just stated. So just a lot.
Exactly. I mean, I know they kind of made up before because he was hit by lightning, and that's why, whatever.
Yeah. Lightning psychosis, of course.
I was just happy that Eddie voiced the concern that we shouldn't keep Iris in the dark. Like, I needed someone to be like, yo, she's like a grown woman and she can deal with this.
You make a really good point, and you reminded me that we need to step back for a second, because the only reason that they're in this predicament is that Iris is nosy and wants to know, and I don't mean that in a bad way, I just mean that's her job.
Yeah, she's a journalist.
She's a journalist, and she wants to know what is going on with her boss, Mason. So she's looking into it, and everybody's kind of brushing her off, like, he's fine, he's fine. What does she do? Beep, boop, beep, boop. Hey, Flash, come on over. No, she, like, sent him some picture text.
Yeah, I just think they're treating her like she's dumber than she is.
Yeah.
As characters.
Well, I would argue that maybe they're trying to keep her off of the case because she's so tenacious that if they give her the bone, that was weird. If they give her this lead, then she won't stop until she gets to the point where she has to be killed to death.
Right.
The bigger issue isn't her knowing what happened with Mason. It's her knowing that Barry is the Flash and who the Flash is. Because knowing who is the Flash puts you at risk. We saw that with Cisco last week. Once you know who the Flash is, then you are you are liable. You know, you can get kidnapped, people can find you, whatever it is. So they do not want Iris to know because everybody's trying to protect Iris.
And yet, I get that 100%. And yet, though, how valuable would she be working on the newspaper and like in control of this secret?
Which is why eventually she'll know.
I mean, how could they prove anyway if she's at risk? If she's this close to the Flash, regardless, because anybody that knows who the Flash is knows that Joe knows who the Flash is and knows that Joe is a daughter. So regardless if Iris really knows or not, people are going to assume that she knows. So if she really doesn't know, it's almost worse because if she, God forbid, gets taken away and they're going to be like torturing her, like, tell us who the Flash is, and she's like, I really don't know. If she really did know, she could have some trick and then be like, oh, I'm already 5 steps ahead of them. I know what they're saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
No,
I just worry that
I'd rather have more knowledge.
I worry that the show is going to get in trouble because they are not making her character as interesting as other characters on the show. So if we need to continue to root for her and Barry to end up together, we need to love her.
And I think that's very smart, Jeff.
Yeah.
I think it's really smart because something similar kind of happened on Arrow where they felt like one of the lead girls, Laurel, the character wasn't given enough to do.
Yeah.
And she wasn't strong enough. I mean, then later on she becomes Black Canary, so she is strong enough now and people like the character more. But until Iris has like specific job in a specific place and is part of our Scooby gang or whatnot, I don't know if people are going to warm up to her as quickly.
Who do you think people like more, Caitlin or Iris, just in general?
Caitlin.
You think so?
Yeah, I think,
I think people like Iris and Barry together more.
No, I'm just saying in terms of just girls, girl against girl, who they like more.
I think that they like Caitlin because Caitlin she has a backstory. She has like moments where you can feel good about her, bad about her. She's a fully developed character, whereas Iris is defined by the men that she loves and the men who love her.
Right.
So she's only until recently just gotten this like I'm a journalist storyline. Before she was a girl working at a coffee shop who our main character loved, and that was all we had to go off.
Yeah, which is hard for the whole series to like be based around their relationship.
Of course.
And that's her.
Oh yeah, Caitlin would never, I don't feel like, is the damsel in distress. Like tonight we saw that Iris is at the gala or whatever the re-election party, and she's there and she calls her dad so that the dad can listen. And it's not that Caitlin wouldn't do that, but Caitlin wouldn't be completely helpless. And I feel like Iris is a little bit helpless because she isn't on our same team, she isn't on our same page, she doesn't know what we know. Once she has all of this knowledge, then she can put it to good use, but until then she kind of isn't working towards the same goal that we're all working towards.
And I think too, like I think this is all like writing, unfortunately. It's not like Candace at all, her like portrayal.
Oh, of course not.
But I think also like in the storyline of the Flash show, the things need to progress the way they need to follow the story track. And in order for that to happen, I feel like maybe her character has to be like on the slower end of things.
For right now, at least, absolutely. And then we can bring her in, but we decide not to for tonight. And she thinks that Mason's somewhere in Brazil and he's getting his tan on, chasing off some woman, climbing mountains or whatever he's doing. Anyway, that was tonight's episode, and we want to get to some news and gossip before we get to our predictions, hearing whatever Tauri had to say for us. Okay.
Oh, I knew exactly what you were thinking.
We're not there yet, Jeff. We'll get there. Okay, let's start with our favorite Tom Welling, who, of course, played Superman on Smallville, is rumored to be coming on The Flash for Season 2, reprising his role. So somehow we are and we've seen little snippets of, I think, the Smallville buildings that were in Smallville or whatnot in The Flash, and somehow we're crossing over these universes. They're the same whatever it is, which I think you're really excited about. A lot of fans are really excited about. What are you thinking, Tauri?
I mean, that would be great. Mostly because I think that this franchise, the DC TV universe, needs one of the bigger names, like a Batman or Superman, even a Wonder Woman. Please, Wonder Woman. And so I think that would be great. And it's a TV version that everyone loves. It has like 10 years of fandom behind it. So I think just that is enough to bring people in to see what this Flash show is all about.
Cool. Would you guys like to see that, or are you getting a little confused with all the different, or not liking how many different places and shows and crossovers we're having?
I like it. I really like it a lot.
Cool.
I think it's something that not every show is capable of doing.
Yeah.
You know, like shows on their own. There's not the same universe, and when it's possible, let's go for it. I love Smallville. This is a great idea.
Yeah, I like it too. And as somebody that doesn't watch a ton of other shows, I don't get confused or weirded out by it or like think like, who's this person? Like I really enjoy it. I like knowing that there's somebody from another show. It makes me want to watch that other show.
Yeah, it does. As long as you don't need to watch the other show to understand, then I think it's a great thing to do.
Yes.
And I also was a fan of Smallville, so I think that this is awesome. All right, moving on. We have some casting news. This is for the Arrow Flash spin-off. Starting with, we have cast Hawkgirl as Sierra Renee. And Hawkgirl, Tauri, our resident expert, can tell us a little bit about the character.
Yes, Hawkgirl Striar Hall. She is part of the Justice League. What do you call them? She's part of the Justice League. She kind of took the place of Hawkman. Yes, that is his name. Hawkman. She took his place mostly because, I mean, we needed more ladies on the Justice League. And also, she's amazing.
And the actress is a little hottie.
Yeah, I'm glad that they chose a person of color to be her. I think that's amazing.
Cool.
Awesome.
Are you guys getting excited about this casting? With also hearing from Arthur Darvill is playing Rip Hunter. So just hearing little bits and pieces, do we like that they're doing again another kind of spin-off? Oh,
Tauri does not like it.
No, he's got a big smile.
I'm kidding.
Oh, well, people on iTunes were confused.
Oh.
Yeah, they can't see my big giant smile. I love that. Like, so this guy, he was a companion in Doctor Who, so he has done the time traveler thing, and
the actor has.
Yes. And Rip Hunter is traditionally he's a time traveler who goes and he kind of fixes things throughout history and all that stuff. So he's amazing.
Can he fix it? Apparently he can. Any other thoughts on that before our last little bit of news? This last bit is that we just have a title for our last episode. So season 1, episode 23 is called Fast Enough. Do we think that means that he...
Yes.
Is that a reference to him and his mom? Is that a question mark, exclamation point, period? Is that a he was fast enough but still it didn't matter? What do you think?
No.
Nobody knows.
I know.
Ashley knows.
I know. It means it was fast enough.
If you don't know, now you know, Ashley.
Thank you.
You are welcome. Okay.
But I never go against.
Can we get to some predictions? Because I got to know what Tara was going to say and what Jeff knew Tara was going to say.
And I want to know what Tara was going to say.
All right. I was based off of the preview. We see Joe and Detective Lance from Arrow uncovering a body in the woods, and up until now we're like, whose body could it be? But at this point, I think it's safe to say that body is the original Harrison Wells, and that will be the breaking point in.
And they're gonna be like, huh?
Right.
But whose DNA does it have? Does it have Wells's? Does it have Eobard's? Does it have...
I think it'll have Wells, like original Wells Prime, if you will, his DNA. I think the switch was mostly cosmetic, so like that's why the blood doesn't match from the wall.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, the blood.
Yes.
Great point.
Right. No, absolutely.
Nice connection.
Yeah.
Not at all what I thought you were going to say.
What do you think?
What do you think I was gonna say?
Okay, this was like a far-reaching, but in the preview, they showed a picture of someone who can only be described as a white alien with like a melting face.
Right.
And I thought you were going to tell me that he was going to get his face back.
Oh.
Which, like, they would never kick Tom Cavanaugh off the show. So that's a
Guys,
stretch. But that's what I thought you were saying.
These predictions are our version of Breaking Bad season 5.
Hey.
I thought that the preview for the rest of the season, which, as you pointed out, was very similar to that at Paley Fest, this was incredible. So much is going on. The fact that we're getting all of this crossover, we're getting Robbie Amell, we're getting Stevie Amell, we're getting all of these incredible characters. I'm just amazingly excited. Do we have any other predictions? Or votes of
I'm just so
excitement.
excited though. What should we do when we come back? April 14th.
Eat some
Twizzlers.
Yeah, I know. I'm sad that we will be gone for a week. But also, oh my God,
weeks.
seeing Gorilla Grodd again and what was going on with that. That was so cool.
It also looked like Eddie shot somebody.
Yeah.
A couple cops, yeah.
And the pipeline inmates, it looked like they were out, which we predicted.
Oh, yeah, you guys were right about
I
that.
just keep having these bursts of excitement. That's what this show
I
does.
know.
for
I
me.
just can't wait to see Grodd. I'm so excited. I just think he's so scary.
Yeah, he is.
I like scary.
Arrow fans, if you're caught up, watch the trailer again and pay close attention to what Oliver is wearing, because it's not his traditional Green Arrow outfit. It's a very distinct, very familiar outfit. I won't say anything
Yeah.
because
Was
it's
it
a
in
spoiler.
the,
It
was
looks
it in the
really
previews
cool.
of tonight?
It was in tonight's Flash
It was very, very cool looking, and I will
darker.
say,
preview. Yes.
I saw that and I don't even watch it.
One could say a shadow would wear it.
since we have brought him up, congratulations to him on being in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2.
Yes.
That casting is amazing, and he's great, and he's also on our show, so it's relevant to news and gossip, even though we're on predictions.
Yes.
But speaking of which, we are off of predictions now, and we are closing our show tonight, which means that there is a 2-week break between when now and when we are back, and everybody's going to want to talk to you guys because you're brilliant and beautiful and wonderful people, and you're Flash
thanks.
experts. So Tauri, where can the people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at TauriJ. It's TaurijAY.
You can find me on Twitter at Ashley Daniels and Instagram at Miss Ashley Daniels, and I love and miss you guys.
All right, guys, I tweet from Jeff Masters 1.
And you guys can find me at Roxy Striar. You can find us at AfterBuzz TV, AfterBuzzTV.com, YouTube.com/AfterBuzzTV, on iTunes, on SoundCloud. Make sure you're using the hashtag ABTVFlash. We love you guys. Thank you so much. Make sure you keep in touch with us and give us that thumbs up, that 5-star, leave a comment, and we'll see everything you guys have to say. See you in 2 weeks.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
See you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.